In this video, we'll show you how to replace the spark plugs on your Subaru Baja. This is located in the front of the vehicle and on either side of the engine. Let's get started. We can loosen up the 10mm for the negative terminal. We'll set that down. That way it can't make contact. And pull the positive terminal off. Commonly, you'd have a 10mm nut holding down your J-hooks. For our case, we have some wing nuts. We can just go ahead and loosen those. It can help to pick up on the bracket while you loosen these. That way the J-hooks stay in their holes and hold them still. Once you have enough slack, you can pop the J-hooks from out of the chassis, and we can remove our bracket. And we can remove the battery. We have two 10mm bolts holding in our washer fluid reservoir. We can go ahead and remove those. We have our electrical connector for our washer fluid pump down bottom here. We have a tab towards the outside of the vehicle. We'll press in on that as you pull up on the connector. Whenever you remove an electrical connector, you want to check the terminals for any damage or corrosion. These look good. Battery cable hooks onto the washer fluid reservoir right here, and we can go ahead and just set that off to the side and rest it up against the intake box. It's not totally necessary to remove the washer fluid reservoir, but it definitely helps give you more space to work. Grab the end of the plug wire, pull out. Using our 5/8 spark plug socket, and I'm using two 3-inch extensions. You can use a 6-inch, but I find it's a little bit easier to be able to separate the two extensions at some points. Go ahead and loosen up this spark plug. Once you have it loose, you can probably remove your ratchet and then use the extension to spin it the rest of the way. You want to use a spark plug socket for this because it'll hold the spark plug as you pull it out. Before installing our new spark plugs, it's good to apply just a little bit of dielectric grease to the tip and just a dab on the threads. With your new spark plug in your spark plug socket, you can start to line this up. You want to install this nice and slow and go as straight as possible, as you don't want to bend the electrode at the end of the spark plug. It's also good to thread this in by hand. You don't want to use any impact gun or anything like that, as that could damage the threads. We'll get that snugged up. And we can torque the spark plugs to 15 foot-pounds. And we can install our coil pack. As you push in on the coil pack, you want to make sure that it bottoms out and makes contact with the spark plug. Replacing the rear spark plug is the same process as the front. Now we can get the washer fluid reservoir back in place. Get the two bolts started in. And we'll snug those down. And plug back in the electrical connector. Make sure that's fully seated and not going to pull back off. You want to make sure that your battery cable is back hooked to the washer fluid reservoir. We have two 10mm bolts that we need to remove in order to remove the beginning of our air duct. And we can pull that off and set it off to the side. Normally, to remove this tube, you'd need to undo this 10mm bolt right here. The bracket in our case is broken, however, so we're just going to pull up on this. We can pop that off of the intake box and set that off to the side. To remove the lower box for the intake, we have one 12mm bolt down on the frame rail. And there's a grommet over on the side. You can just pop that out and remove the box. Pop the plug wire out. Go ahead and get our socket and extensions into the head. Start to get the spark plug into the head. Start to thread that in. Just like on the other side, you want to thread this in by hand. You don't want to use an impact to thread this in. Could damage the threads. And we can torque these ones to 15 foot-pounds as well. When you install the plug wire, you want to make sure that it fully bottoms out and you feel it pop onto the spark plug. The process for the rear spark plug is the same as the front. And get the lower box for the intake back in, line it up, push the grommet into the side of the engine bay. We'll get the bolt in. And we can just snug that down. You want to make sure the battery is centered in its tray. We'll get the positive terminal on first. And we can snug down the 10mm. And make sure the boot is set over the terminal. We'll get the negative terminal in place. And we'll get that snug down as well. We can get our battery tie down lined up and centered on the battery. If you pick up on the battery bracket, as you tighten down on the J-hooks, that'll help keep the J-hooks in place on the chassis.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.